Let's go down the rabbit hole.
Hey everybody, it's End Times Talk. Welcome. It's good to see you all. Oh, this is a little bit of a heavier live. I want to first state that uh, I'm not trying to spread fear or anything like that, or get people scared or whipped up into emotion or anything like that. A true watchman on the wall warns when they see danger approaching. I've been sounding the alarm on some stuff for a long time, but it's just incrementally getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And, I have a lot of new information to share with you guys today, but I want to start off with a tragedy that has happened not too far from where I live, in Blanc, Michigan. Okay. It's called Grand Blanc, Michigan. And and I don't necessarily agree with the type of church that it is, okay? But when your enemies are attacking churches, regardless of whatever denomination or whether they're Mormon or Jehovah's Witness or whatever, and I'm not even saying that they're Christians. I'm saying it's a place that people are practicing their religious freedoms, and I think it's important to cover it because this could be the Baptist church next time, or the Pentecostal church, or any of these churches or non-denominational churches next time. There's warfare happening, and I think it's important to talk about it. Now, I will give everybody fair warning. Uh, in some of the stuff I'm going to be sharing today, there's a little bit of a language and stuff going on, and honestly, we're all adults here. I'm not gonna sit here and censor everything and go through it and have to edit stuff just to show you a short clip. You know what I mean? It's not the first time you probably heard a bad word or anything like that. So I want to make people aware, but I want to show you footage of what's going on in Grand Blanc, Michigan. Check this video
I'm at
out.
the scene of a giant fire happening at a church in Grand Blanc, Michigan. I talked to someone who just got here from South America. It's his first week in the U.S., went to church with his mom. His mom is still in the building, and he got out. From what I'm hearing on the ground, a man drove his vehicle into the church and then started shooting, and even shot a little girl in the back, and she is at the hospital right now. The shooter has been neutralized, but that's all I know at the moment. Everyone within a 30-minute radius has responded to the scene.
It's terrible. A little girl was shot in the back during this, and man, these people, they're animals. They're just animals. These people that will go out and hurt people, they don't care about the sanctity of life or anything. They just go out and they willy-nilly do whatever they want without thinking of any consequences whatsoever. Here's some more footage of the church. It's a Latter-day Saints church. It's Mormon, but and I don't believe in any of that stuff. But still, this needs to be talked about. Check this one out. And you can see that whole church is on fire. And it's sad because I mean this is this could be any of the Christian churches next Sunday. You know what I mean? There was a church that was shot up in Detroit, and they killed the guy before he really got inside to really do damage, but the security guard was shot. One of the deacons, I guess, rammed the dude with his car. And I'm security at my church. I'm part of the security team at my church, and we take this stuff very seriously. And this security teams in general for churches are actively training, for combat. It's the reality of what's happening right now in the world, and Christians are beginning to be censored. I do believe this, that if it would have been Kamala Harris, all of this would have happened a lot sooner. You know what I mean? I'm surprised it's taken as long as it has to get where it's at right now, but I'm going to show you a little bit more footage here. Just terrible what's going on. Absolutely terrible. Now, I will tell you there is a cuss word in the image I'm about to show you, but this is a picture, and I'm going to point something out here after this picture that I think is very important to talk about. All right, and I'm sorry about the cuss word in here, but that is the truck that rammed into the church. Okay, and look at what they have in the back of it. All right, and it reminds me of that Civil War movie. And I don't know if any of you have seen it, but in the beginning of that movie, okay, in the beginning of that movie, there was a gathering of people, and it probably was a leftist gathering, because all of a sudden in the movie they portrayed someone with an American flag running into it with a suicide bomb strapped to their chest, and you can guess what the rest of the scene was. And these false flag attacks are going to begin to happen, and this could very well have been Antifa or radical Islam portraying themselves as a patriot, knowing that they're going to light the place ablaze, and there's not going to be a lot of evidence of what they believed. You know what I mean? But they can portray it like that. And I want to show this document here. This is a Twitter X account that has since been deleted. All right, this person has deleted their account, but they are hardcore Antifa. I've been following this person for quite some time. All right, because I want to know what they're putting out there, and I'll tell you, they're telling everybody to delete everything and go undercover. All right, because Antifa has been designated a terrorist organization. All right, and they're saying lawyer up. I cannot stress this enough. Also, they'll shoot your dogs in the raid. Cops have even shot cats. I thought it might have been rabies. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. I haven't heard of when law enforcement comes in to take these people down, if there's cats and dogs being killed. I don't know. All right. That's this person trying to stir up the angry mob. This person's Antifa that's saying this. And they're telling them to offload your pets and your valuables and your heirlooms to a trusted, safe location where they can remain indefinitely if needed. See, they're teaching people how to get prepared for warfare. All right. And again, it says here, this guy says, lawyer up. I cannot stress this enough. And strap up. The off-duty badge and their whatever boy cosplay fascist goons will be real emboldened. Arm yourself while you still can and train. Have a bug out bag and a safe house and be ready to tear blank out of town at a moment's notice. This is someone who is a leader in Antifa and is organizing other Antifa members. Okay. It also says here, the same thing that I just, read to you, but it just goes to show up at the top here, the post says it's time to delete any social media posts referring to Antifa. The Trump government is coming for you. All right. So that's where it's at. So Antifa is going to start to go underground now. They're not going to be emboldened and waving their flags anymore. There actually seems like it's turning into guerrilla tactics. Okay. And, there's more and more attacks happening, You can watch since the year 2015 and see the incrementalization of all this stuff just gain and accelerate. It's crazy to me what's going on right now. And these poor people at this church in, southern Michigan, in Grand Blanc, it just breaks my heart that these people are going through what they're going through. I don't care what they believe. All right. It's the same thing, other people that don't believe in Jesus really felt for Christians when Charlie Kirk was killed. And these people are being attacked too, whether they're Mormons or not. It don't matter. You know what I mean? Like, they're people and they have lives and they matter. And it breaks my heart. And so this is where things get to be a little bit more difficult. And I'm going to go over a document that I've talked about before, because for new people that are watching, I think this document needs to be gone over, just the Third World War part. And I'll tell you in short that this was a document that was hanging up in the British Museum Library at one point, up until 1977 in London, and they took it down. And there were people that were alive then that have confirmed that they saw it hanging there, that this was a real document. Okay. And so, this is solidified, and there are people who have certain arguments about it, and those can be disproven, very easily. But the Third World War paragraphs, the 4 bottom paragraphs, or well, 3 paragraphs in a short sentence, are the ones that I'm kind of honing in on and focusing in on now. And I'm going to just read it to you and kind of break it down for you. It says, the Third World War must be fermented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the agents of the Illuminati. Agentur is what it says, but it's agents of the Illuminati between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. So Israel and the Muslim nations, or radical Islam. This says the war must be conducted in such a way that Islam, the Muslim Arabic world, and political Zionism, the state of Israel, mutually destroy each other. So this is what's happening. As we're seeing this clash happening in the Middle East. It's not hard to see that this is exactly, everybody's like, oh, Russia and Ukraine's World War III. No. That's distraction, even though it has a purpose. And I've talked about the 10 kingdoms being built. It has a purpose. All right. Merging, it eventually will be Ukraine, Russia, and Poland merged together. But it has its purpose. But this is the true center and focus of what's going on. And you notice all the hatred towards the Jews, and it's not Judaism that's responsible. It is Satanism infiltrating Judaism, and it's known as Kabbalah, or in their teachings are from the Talmud and things like that. And it comes off as Jewish, but it's actually high-end Luciferian witchcraft that's been passed down from the Tower of Babel to the Canaanites, and from the Canaanites it went, and some Jews took it upon themselves to teach this oral tradition of Kabbalah. And so Jesus even said twice in the book of Revelation, talking about those that say they are Jews and are not, but are of the synagogue of Satan. This is a satanic conspiracy. And the people writing this, Albert Pike and Giuseppe Mazzini, are both high-end Luciferians. And Giuseppe Mazzini was actually the leader of the Illuminati after Adam Weishaupt had passed it down to him after his death. Okay, and so Albert Pike, being a leader of the KKK and the southern chapters of Freemasonry, and a high-end Luciferian, high-end member of the Illuminati, was discussing their plans for a third world war. And this is what it's telling us. And fast forward from literal 1871 to 2025, and boom, look where we're at. Now pay close attention to the next paragraph, because it involves us all. Meanwhile, the other nations, all the rest of us, once more divided on this issue. What issue? The issue of whether you're pro-Israel or whether you're pro-Palestine or pro-Islam or whatever. And you see the Antifas and the LGBTQ community and all these people getting involved in Islam, all right, because they want to wage war against the Christians and the Jews. So the enemy of my enemy has become my friend, so to speak. You see what I'm saying? And so this, they're gaining forces, they're gaining traction, and they're collectively working together now against Christian civilization, or aka the right, or Republican conservative Christians. Okay, and so this is a thing that's really gone to come. That's really become a line in the sand, if you will. And God is absolutely separating the wheat from the tares right now in this situation. But I want to implore you never to get violent, because you're playing into Satan's hand. Even if you go out and you riot, or if you go out and you get busy, all right, you're playing into Satan's hand, and let me show you how. So they want the world divided on this, whether you're pro-Islam or pro-Israel or pro-Christianity issue, all right? And it says that this issue will be constrained to, or divided on this issue will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economical exhaustion. And it says right here, this is the important part here that adds up to what's going on right now. We shall unleash the nihilists and the atheists. The atheists, Antifa and the LGBTQ community, plenty of atheists within those communities. All right. They're obviously not in the church. Okay. And the nihilists, these are like your anarchists and all these different people, your communists and your socialists and these college students that have been indoctrinated into false doctrines. These are nihilists and atheists. So these people that are already getting busy and getting uppity and doing work, all right, are exactly being, it says here, they're going to unleash them. They're being unleashed. That's where we're at right now. People are divided on this issue, and then these nihilists and atheists have been unleashed. And it says here, and I believe this is what's next, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm, which in all its horror will show clearly to the nations the effects of absolute atheism, the origin of savagery, and of the most bloody turmoil. And I believe we're beginning to see that take hold and gain traction and take root, unfortunately. And here's the thing. I am not here to tickle ears in any way, shape, or form. I've always been someone who has tried to warn the Christian encampment and the conservative encampment, the people who care about the sanctity of life and God and Jesus, and honestly just their fellow brother or sister, whether they're a Christian or whether they're just a neighbor. Okay, those people, I am trying to warn them of the approaching danger that's coming. All right, and some people are wanting to hear it, other people aren't wanting to hear it at all, and I can understand both sides of the coin. All right, but it's my duty. If I don't warn people, the blood can be held on my hands as a watchman, because I could have said something and instead I sat back, and I could have been out there eating taco salad with my wife while she's out there playing with the dog and sit in my yard on a Sunday afternoon. Instead, I'm taking my time to come on and warn everybody here, because I care about each and every single one of you in the scenario that's coming, and it's brewing, it's happening. The evidence is all here, and I'm going to show you more of that today. It says right here, then everywhere, this is all over the globe, the citizens obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries. Well, I can already tell you who the revolutionaries are. It's your nihilists and your atheists, and I already gave you the definition of that. All right, so they want the right, conservative, Christian, whatever group you're in, or all three all at once, to rise up against the liberal democratic left is what they want. The Luciferians, or those that are godless in general, the godless commies. Okay, that's what they want. They want both sides to clash while the Muslims and the Jews are clashing. This is Satan's ultimate plan in bringing about chaos that will establish a new world order, a confederacy of 10 kingdoms that they will reshape the world into. And after that, a man will take power and he will rule the world. And the Bible calls him the Antichrist. This is the goal. And this is the path in which that we will take to get there. And in this path, somewhere, some way, somehow, Jesus is coming to get his people. And that's all I'm going to say on that. All right. I'm not here to talk about the rapture. I'm here to warn people. But the rapture's coming. All right. So I want to encourage people with that. All right. Any moment now. So it says that they want the citizens to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries. And that it says here they will exterminate those destroyers of civilization. So the right is going to overcome the left. This is their guess or guarantee, or however they'll make it happen. And it says, and the multitude, and remember, these are Satanists writing this here. It says, and the multitude disillusioned with Christianity, whose deistic spirits will from that moment be without compass or direction because of the bloody battle that just took place. Everybody's going to be like, where do we go from here? It says right here, anxious for an ideal, but without knowing where to render its adoration, will receive, so they're going to bring it out into the open, the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer, brought finally out into the public view. This is proof that this is a satanic Luciferian plan of the elite, the Luciferian cabal that exists behind the scenes. These people are acting on their plan. They have pulled the trigger, and we are already in the trigger effect. Have you ever seen the movie Trigger Effect? Anybody raise your hand? And if you haven't, what a good old movie. All right. Now, it says right here, this manifestation will result from the general reactionary movement, and I'm going to add of the public. So the public who's sick and tired of the left doing this stuff, all right, after this, this movement manifests, which will follow the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time. So this is going to lead into the Antichrist persecuting Christians, and atheists won't ever believe in Lucifer as God or an Antichrist as God, so they have to be taken out too. Do you see the tomato here? Regardless, these people who are into Darwinism and all that stuff, they're on the chopping block too. They just don't know it yet. And they're the ones being used to foment this war. Huh? Does it sound plausible? Is it beginning to make sense? All right. And I'm sorry about the language in this, but I think I need to lead with this clip from a popular musical group that is spread around in the circles of Antifa. I do the research for you, and then I bring it to you, so you don't have to go out and listen to all this Antifa stuff. I'll bring you the news. And I'm sorry about the language that's in this, but I want to give it to you in a raw format so that way you can understand what these people are being indoctrinated with. Listen to this right now.
Okay, first things first, free Gaza. I need Elon's body dropping. I need TNT in Congress. I need Luigi in my roster. Getting janitorial, got no street sweeper. Big fan of dead leaders, VIP meet and greet 'em. Treat any money mo, how I treat my CEO like Bird, but all I can see now is rojo. Just the other day, I was scrolling on my phone though, trying to cope with the notion that I'm culpable. Saw the trolley pound at the POTUS with a locomotive. Band together first, then focus on your locomotive. 756, really it's a low total, come get in the mix. Teach you how to toe the pole, walking with a stick, hits up from a stone's throw. Since you love big tech, got four. Hit a 187 on a piggy if you want to make a difference. SpaceX ain't the only ones with a mission. My team got the rockets out and used to try to catch them all. Trying to decimate the deficit down to the very last decimal. Look, I don't know how to balance a budget, but I know how to take every last ounce of blood out of your stomach. I feel like Neo will play with me. I ain't the one that said I am the sun. Blinded by rage, got fell on the side of my gun. Defiant, denying, defunded. Fine with the timing, compliant. I'm not the pious, go try me. I'm lighting them up. Say, give me the mic. I am live from the mud. What them say? It's on the hook. What the kids say? It's on the truck.
Burn the system down and start a fire. Marching down the streets and you invited. Fist up in the air and put it higher. We the people gotta stay united.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, that's the propaganda that's being pushed on the left right now, ramping them up, amping them up. And I mean, it's both sides of the coin are being amped up. And they've used a terrible tragedy with what happened to Mr. Kurt to enrage the right. And then they used the right to get a bunch of the left fired. That enraged them. It's a back and forth. And eventually, like Charlie Kirk was saying, when people stop talking, that's when violence begins. That's when civil war begins. All right. And attacks have been happening all over the place. It's absolutely crazy what's going on. And I'm taking a real risk even showing this clip right now, but I think it's important to show you this clip because this was a movie that was done by the Obamas. And I do think, and I'm going to say this before I show you this clip, that I believe there's a little bit of cyber attack sprinkled into this because there's a lot of the leftist Antifa movement that's behind the anonymous movement. Okay, and the anonymous movement has connections all over the world and hacking circles all over the world, black hat hackers that want to see the fall of humanity and the fall of society. And so with that being said, I'll show you this clip.
I need to know that you're on the level with me. No matter how far this thing goes, I need to know that we're good. Because if what just happened here is happening everywhere, we need to get to that bunker Danny told us about, and we need to get there now.
What are you talking about? You know something.
I had a sneaking suspicion, but I wanted more information first. All the signs were there, sure, but I didn't want to scare anyone. You'd have called me crazy because it is crazy. It would have made more sense if we were on the brink of an all-out invasion. But this... I didn't think we'd actually let something like this happen. I thought we were smarter than that.
Let what happen?
Because my primary client works in the defense sector, I spent a lot of time studying the cost-benefit analysis of military campaigns. There was one program in particular that terrified my client the most. A simple 3-stage maneuver that could topple a country's government from within. The first stage was isolation. Disable their communication and transportation. Make the target as deaf, dumb, and paralyzed as possible, setting them up for the second stage. Synchronized chaos. Terrorize them with covert attacks and misinformation. Overwhelming their defense capabilities, leaving their weapon systems vulnerable to extremists in their own military. Without a clear enemy or motive, people would start turning on each other. Done successfully, the third stage would happen on its own.
What's the third stage?
A coup d'etat. Civil war. Collapse. This program was considered the most cost-effective way to destabilize a country. Because if the target nation was dysfunctional enough, it would, in essence, do the work for you. Whoever started this wants us to finish it.
Ain't that crazy? So he's literally saying a coup d'etat, civil war. He said whoever started this wants society to finish it. And Aleister Crowley said for the new eon to be ushered in, the world must be bathed in blood first. And I'm trying to warn people. I'm trying to warn people. I'm trying to warn people to prepare people mentally. If the Lord tarries even just a little bit of time, we're going to see some of this thing. All right, it's already, I mean, kind of happening. I mean, if you really think about it, look at what's happening in Europe with all the attacks that have been happening in Europe on Europeans and the Irish. Okay, and then what's been happening here in America, you know, with all the different school shootings and the church shootings, and yeah, they're going after Catholic churches and you know, Mormons and all that stuff. But you have to understand that when they put out statistics for the Christian community, they wrap us all into one. They wrap us in with the Latter-day Saints, which are the Mormons. They wrap us in with the Jehovah's Witnesses. Whether you're Pentecostal, apostolic, or Baptist, or non-denominational, they don't care. They put it all into one. And those are, when they release statistics, that's what they release statistics about. They say that is the church. So when you have people that are uneducated about what branches of Christianity mean what, and they just want to go out and do chitty chitty bang bang, you know what I'm saying? These things are happening, you know, and so I find it important to report these things to people as to what's going on. And so I think I've given people a clear outline what to expect in the very near future. And so that being said, I want to show you the World Economic Forum's predictions for the year 2030. And remember, we're almost in 2026. So there's 5 more years. And I'm going to show you this video. Wait a second. You know what? Give me a moment here. Give me a moment here. I'm hoping I didn't cancel out of it. Yeah, maybe I did. Yeah, I think I canceled out of what I was going to show you guys. I think I just hold on one second. All right. So, anyways, these are the predictions for the World Economic Forum by the year 2030. It's not going to happen in 2030. It's going to happen before. So, I believe it's within the next 5 years. So, it's got to start happening soon to get things done the way that they want things done. All right. But check this out. And one of them is the America is not a world superpower anymore. And you need to ask yourself, with what I'm telling you, what is about to happen in America that causes it not to be a world superpower anymore? Check this video out. So that's Agenda 2030. You know what I mean? But there's a lot more about Agenda 2030 that people don't know, and it's a predecessor, or its predecessor is Agenda 21, and Agenda 2030 is a blueprint for a new world order. And I'm going to read something here that I had some notes typed out here to share with you guys. It's been orchestrated by global elites like the UN, the World Economic Forum, billionaires like Bill Gates or George Soros to establish a one world government. And the terrorism that we're seeing, that we're about to see, isn't just a challenge here. It's a manufactured tool or pretext for control. The solutions are code for eroding sovereignty, depopulating resistant populations, and reshaping society into a technocratic dystopia. America and Great Britain, they want to do these digital IDs now in Great Britain to track everybody, all right, as symbols of Western freedom, individualism, and Christianity. Line this up with the 3 world wars, it fits perfectly, are prime targets for destruction through chaos, replacement, migration, and subjugation. Here's kind of a breakdown of it, all right? Terrorism is going to be used as a false flag or imported chaos to justify control. The agenda's mention of terrorism, all right, like on pages 8 and 10, all right, in the Agenda 2030 documents, you can just type up Agenda 2030 PDF. You can see it for yourself on pages 8 and 10. They bring up terrorism, and it isn't about solving it; it's about exploiting it. By labeling terrorism as a global challenge, the UN creates a perpetual crisis to push for international cooperation, which really means a one world army and police force to override national borders and constitutions. So they're already working on that. And who's been doing that here in America? This could involve staging or allowing false flag attacks, all right, to scare populations into accepting surveillance, microchipping, and digital IDs tied to social credit systems. To destroy the West, in America and Britain, open borders, all right, promoted under goals 10 and 16 for inclusion and reducing inequalities, flood countries with migrants from third world nations, including potential terrorists. This is seen as the Clergy Plan, or the Great Replacement is what they want to call it now, deliberately importing chaos to spark civil unrest, riots, terror attacks, and civil war. The resulting fear justifies lockdowns, martial law, and UN peacekeepers intervening, and that's how likely they'll get the blue helmets on the ground in the U.S., dissolving U.S. and U.K. sovereignty. All right, Muslims or other groups are going to be used as tools to destabilize Christian majority societies, after which the elites eliminate them too for full control. And that's they're actually expecting God to eliminate them, because remember, the majority of Muslim nations will be destroyed in the Ezekiel 38 and 39 war. All right, just putting that out there. All right, this is the solution that they have as tools for depopulation and economical ruin. Goal 16, peaceful societies and anti-terror measures are interpreted as a Trojan horse for depopulation. All right, you can link this to the broader agenda goals like sustainable consumption, which is goal 12, and climate action, which is goal 13, and the goals for sustainability that they have. All right, claiming their excuses for engineered crises and pandemics. I've been saying that they're going to have a pandemic. It's just a matter of when. They're going to release more viruses. This is about mass depopulation of society. We have almost 9 billion people on the planet right now, and they want to get it down to a manageable level. And there's at least going to be at least 6 to 7 billion that are going to have to die within the next few years. Just being honest with you, I'm not going to sugarcoat how bad this actually is. All right, and so they're claiming that their excuses for engineered crisis, pandemics, food shortages, or weather warfare to cull populations. All right, the sources are combating terrorism via global institutions, means mandatory vaccines, fertility control, and biosurveillance to reduce the useless eaters and resistant Western nations. And it's all about using this to go after the resistant nations. They said they're going to have the New World Order, whether it be by conquest or consent. And I believe that Europe, Ireland, and America, being at the top of the Deagle report, has chosen conquest. All right, and I think we're not going to give this up. Everybody's not playing around no more. People are done. People are fed up, and they're like, bring it on like Donkey Kong is what's really going on. So they want to destroy the West. America and Britain's economies are targeted through sustainable policies that shut down farms, forcing synthetic meat and bugs and fossil fuels, and ban private ownership. That's what they're going to do. Eventually, your own home you have been paying for won't belong to you anymore. Your vehicle, more than likely, all of this stuff. Because by the year 2030, they want to be able to take full control of the whole entire globe. That's what it is. This is about the full establishment of the system of the beast, and I believe the system of the beast will be in full swing in the year 2030. And that's when they're going to release 6G for public use. But really, at that point, they're going to be like 3 ahead. They're going to be like an 8G, and they're going to literally be able to read your brain waves without you even holding a cell phone with 7 and 8G. That there's already confirmation on that. They're already in trial phases with 7G and 8G, and there already is 6G that's already been released, but it just isn't for you in the public. It's only for the private sector and the military industrial complex. All right, this creates famine and energy crises. The energy crises are going to come because of all the AI data centers that they have built, where they're going to have their own energy plants and nuclear reactors and stuff to keep these things going and to cool them down. All right, because there's so many of these things needed to be able to control such a massive population up at this point. All right, and so it's going to spark terror-like unrest that elites blame on climate deniers, possibly, or patriots. All right, labeling them terrorists to justify crackdowns. So I've always shown you something here on this channel, and I think it's really important to point this out, that during the 9/11 days, we heard the word terrorist, terrorism, terror cell, homegrown terror so many times it could make you vomit. All right, and that they gave you the image of like this dude, and some guy that only that has about this much of his face showing, some terrorist with a bandana that says jihad or whatever. All right, they showed you that back in those days, and then they've kind of flipped it into like the Antifa types now and all that stuff, but they're going to roll it into once the right goes out and does chitty chitty bang bang during the Third World War. If that happens like that, all right, I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but it's lining up. All right, they're going to be able to twist it and turn the terrorism deal on the people that they actually want to pin it on. All right, and so they're going to try to label patriots as terrorists to justify crackdowns. In the same way, and I'm going to tell you something, and people aren't going to like me when I say this. I'm going to upset a lot of people, but the same way you people are cheering for people being snatched off the streets, one day that will be happening to Americans because the laws have been passed for them to be able to do it. There's enough of a loophole now, and I've been checking. This stuff lines up. All right. And everybody's like, yeah, take them down, and I get it. Illegals, they need to come into our country legally. I totally get that. All right. But people that are cheering on how it's being done, if you're watching that, you watch how these people are thrown around and roughed up and stuff. That's going to be American citizens in what's coming in this new order that's being built. All right. So I hope people are paying very close attention to this thing. All right. And so, depopulation will hit hardest in the West via soft kill methods like toxic food or vaccines, reducing birth rates and replacement populations. All right. And so they're going to go after cultural and spiritual things. They're going to try to erode it. All right. The erosion leading to total subjugation. The agenda's inclusive societies, goal 16, and gender equality, goal 5. Gender equality, goal 5. And that's not, dude, I'm all about women being treated correctly. But here's the thing. That's not what they're meaning. They're meaning all these weird, different, like 90 other genders, okay? That's what they're talking about, all right? So this isn't between man and woman anymore. There's a whole nother giant to fight here, okay? But it says here, goal 5 are seen as attacks on family, Christianity, and Western values promoting gender ideology to indoctrinate kids and destroy traditional structures. The destroyers of civilization, like I read to you in Albert Pike's 3 World Wars document, okay, right there, folks, all right? It's right there. They wanted to destroy traditional structures. They're going to use terrorism as solutions that empower a global elite to enforce a new world religion or climate religion, because people in witchcraft, people in paganism, people in Luciferianism, they worship nature. They're all about the worship of nature, fire, water, wind, earth, and some for some spirit. All right, hold on one second. And I'm telling you, I've always told you they're going to use the new age to really deliver this system. Okay, when it comes to, I believe it's going to be like a new age antichrist. Like it's going to come out of that, all that stuff. And I've gone into these things on my channel before, but I won't do that here now. But anyways, so they're going to use that climate religion to thwart Judeo-Christian foundations. All right, they want to destroy the West, which is Britain and America, as beacons of liberty, are culturally diluted through migration, so replacement migration, and woke policies. All right, they want to end the family units and they want to use the government to raise children. Is really what they want to do, and that's what they're trying to do. Hence, Hillary Clinton's little saying, "It takes a village." That saying, "It takes a village," was coined by Hillary Clinton. Most people don't know that. All right, and this breeds internal terrorism from dissenters, labeled as such, allowing elites to impose Chinese-style social credit and to end privacy. The end game, a feudal system where Western survivors are serfs in a borderless world with terrorism fears keeping them obedient. And I mean, that's kind of where it's all going, if you ask me. All right, and I'm talking for the people, especially the ones that are going to be left behind. I believe during this conflict that's beginning, okay, this is my opinion here. I'm not telling anybody they can't believe what they already believe. This is my opinion, but the conflict that is arising right now, all right, in that conflict somewhere, whether it's right in the beginning or in the middle or almost at the end, that's when Jesus is coming to get us. I truly believe that, okay? And it can happen any day because it's already happening. Just I showed you today in Grand Blanc, Michigan, and excuse the language on this here, but a dude drove into a LDS church, okay, and shot a little girl in the back, shot people up, and lit the place on fire. I mean, just fast blazes right there. Lit the whole place on fire. Just like that. And that could be anybody's church on Sunday. And I remember when I used to be an artist, I used to know a lot of people. Actually, I had a bigger following when I was an artist than End Times Talk. End Times Talk, I have about, right now there's about 10,800 people that view End Times Talk, that are subscribed here. But when I used to make art, there was about 45,000 people that would watch, watch my artwork and watch me paint and all that stuff. And there was this guy out of Arizona I can tell you about, and he was a drunk, but I believed he was Antifa. All right, and because he dressed like him, he acted like him, and he was very satanic. And but he liked my artwork, and I would sell him artwork. And one day he just unloaded on me, and he says, one day we're going to burn all the churches down. It's like they've been planning this for a long time. It's like these ones that are involved in these groups, like where they're coordinating this. They're literally, this guy, Starving Dog Eats Master, he's a high-end Antifa. And he says it's time to delete any social media posts referring to Antifa. The Trump government is coming for you. So these people, I'm telling you, they're. It says right here, lawyer up, and strap up. Is what they're telling them, and train. And they're telling them to have bug out bags and safe houses. They are preparing their ranks for warfare on American soil. And what you've seen today with what's happened in Grand Blanc is no different, okay? But they portray it as if it's a patriot, all right, that's driven a truck into that. You see, the patriotic false flag attacks have already begun. We have gone this long without patriots getting busy, okay? And that's just the reality of it, okay? We have gone this long without patriots getting busy. And I'll even, I'm not saying I agree with everything he says. Occasionally I'll watch him as if it's like Fox News or something. Very occasional, not even once a week, maybe once every week and a half or something. I'll turn on the Alex Jones show to see what he's talking about, what news he's covering. And he has said multiple times that the left is going to begin to do false flag attacks where they make themselves look as if they are patriots doing wicked things. And see how they tried to turn the Charlie Kirk supposed assassin into this possible patriot or whatever, but really he was a leftist that was in a relationship with a transgender. All right, and this transgender dude has since disappeared. You know what I mean? So I mean, there's a lot going on right now, and it's absolutely a big deal. Okay, and I'm trying to educate people as best as I can as to what's going on right now, so that way people can be aware. And America isn't the only nation, okay, that's getting hit right now. All right, and there's Christians that are getting killed all over in Syria and Nigeria. And what I'm about to show you, it's blurred out, but there is blurred graphic imagery I'm about to show you. All right, but it is blurred out. You're not going to see it, but you see the outline, okay? And so you kind of need to understand what I'm about to show you is a little graphic, giving you a heads up, all right? But this is what's going on in Nigeria, just a taste of it. I'll put it to you this way. In 2025 alone, there have been 7,000 martyrs killed in Nigeria. That's in the past few months, okay? And since, or we'll say in the last 10 to 12 years, there's been anywhere from 100,000 plus that have been martyred in Nigeria, and that's Christians, and it's not even in the news. Check this video out. And I do warn you, there is a little bit of graphic content in this, so if you need to turn it off for 1 minute and 5 seconds, and it'll be right back. So I'll give you a chance to turn it off, and here we go. So I'm telling you, folks, it's happening. What I've been saying is coming, has been happening, and they're just not putting it in the mainstream media. All right. And this stuff is happening in Syria as well, where they're killing Christians. It's all over the globe. Christians are being slaughtered. Jesus said that you would be hated of all nations for my name's sake. That's what he said. And he said that this is something that would happen. He said they should deliver you up and kill you for my name's sake. It says it right in Matthew 24. In the beginning of sorrows, he's talking about the beginning of sorrows. This is going to incrementally get worse as we head into the Great Tribulation. But the true bride of Christ has that, exciting rapture scenario that's coming. Absolutely. But we don't know when that's going to happen. And all I'm trying to do is educate people as best I can to to be well-rounded enough to be prepared for what could happen and be ready for Christ's return to get his people. But we don't know a date. We don't even know a month. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know a year. I just know it soon, because Jesus said when all these things are happening, he said he's coming soon. He said, behold, I come quickly. He says, when these things begin to happen, look up, for redemption draweth nigh. So I don't believe that we're going to get into the middle of this World War III and the rapture happen. I think it's going to begin to happen as it is, and we're going home. But we very well could see more than what we think we're going to see of World War III, but we're already in World War III. People need to stop saying we're not going to see World War III. You're already in it. You're in the beginning stages, the beginning phases of World War III. What is already happening in the Middle East, what is already happening in America, what is already happening in Europe, Great Britain and Ireland, and even Australia and whatnot, and New Zealand and whatnot. These things are happening. And over in New Zealand, they just had a huge march against Islam. All the Christians getting out and marching against Islam and then proclaiming Jesus or over New Zealand and proclaiming that it's a Christian country. And I'm telling you, I mean, this is getting down to the nitty gritty, to the point where the U.S. Army has released a new commercial, and all I can say is you got to see this. That's something else. I'm telling you, they're preparing something. And now I'm going to share my screen with you and show you a video that I made not too long ago. And I want to show you this video because I believe it's an important video. It shows you the mind of the left and where they're at right now. And this was, I believe, before the Charlie Kirk assassination that I made this video. So this is before the amplification of that, I believe. I'm pretty sure. I haven't watched it in a minute. I'm sorry, I make so many videos, sometimes I forget, but you put in one that you made 2 or 3 weeks ago, you know what I mean? So I want to show you guys this. It's evidence of what they're saying from their own mouths.
So I would like to start a new movement called CMAGA, because people like that respond to fear and terror and aggression, not logic and empathy and, I don't know, intelligence. It doesn't work for them. So fear works. So if we all get our guns and use our Second Amendment right and our common sense, at this point, this administration is begging us to rise up and revolt. And you see somebody with a MAGA hat, pew, pew. That's what we do. That's the way. It's the only way. Put them back in their basements, make them scared again to be racist, homophobic, and terrible, just awful. Because I would way rather live next to immigrants than MAGA people. MAGA people deserve to be terrified and scared to walk in the streets because they should know that real Americans are going to kill them.
The moment that you grab the gun, like Fanon says, you're no longer oppressed. You're now free. How do we teach that in the class? Just to say that in the class, my students' heads explode, right? To tell them about violence, you know, as a revolutionary tool, as sometimes a revolutionary essential.
We actually need to crash the U.S. settler state, which has incredible reverberations and literally strangles the tentacles that are reaching into the Israeli state.
So we must stand with the armed resistance and work right now to end this impunity by disrupting the flow of weapons to Zionists. Because trust, the armed resistance will defeat Zionism if it was an open battlefield.
Yeah, I've been humbled since October 7th, particularly being in community with folks, particularly when you're someone who has been doing this work. Why stop? This is a profound moment for us, right? And we need to dig in and go harder.
I think putting our bodies on the line sometimes to protect those who are more vulnerable, right? To eat tear gas when we should be doing that and not students. I think that's essential.
So we have to struggle to crash things here. And my students were very, very clear about this. We have to struggle for Indigenous sovereignty right here on Turtle Island. Like there's no way around it, and there's no looking past it at this particular moment.
When that comes time to the university saying, retract that or get fired, I'm confident in myself that I will make that right decision. That is the point of the being guerrilla scholar.
You know, I'm sure that you've been snitched on to the administration about the content in your courses. That has been something that has happened for me, and I don't know what our administration is going to do, right? I know the work that I have been doing. I know the work that I've committed myself to, and I'm going to continue to do the work, right?
People missed out on the significance of what Hezbollah represented, right? Of what the Iranian Revolution represented, and they just fell into the imperialist ideological representation of those movements and forces that were challenging imperialism.
Challenge what the settler state, the settlement of the University of Virginia that we're on, which is still a plantation and has all of its plantation artifice up, right? And artifacts. I'm trying to really ride the wheels off of these institutional resources and go for broke.
That we have to understand Al-Aqsa flood on October 7th and since then as a really decisive historic strike in terms of not just Palestinian national liberation, right? But it's a historic strike intervening into this. And I apologize for kind of rushing through the anti-imperialist moment of the past 20, 30 years, but I think it's a decisive strike into challenging those two legs of imperialism.
Some colleagues who are part of my chapter of Faculty for Justice for Palestine to help us teach Palestinian liberation, right? To teach about resistance struggles at this particular phase of Palestinian resistance in our classrooms and how to build community with not just faculty, but students who are committed to this.
I think Hamas, what it represents, and not just Hamas, but the whole armed resistance movement, it represents a rejection and a refusal of an equation of force that leaves Palestinians dependent and eternally vulnerable, and having to distort and configure themselves to seek recognition and protection from their oppressors. So how can subjugated states, subjugated peoples elevate their struggle from that in a colony, in a one-to-one relation of overthrowing the immediate colonizer to overturning this broader imperialist world system, which was missing in the 20th century struggles? And I believe we're in a moment where it's being put to the question in a way it never has been before.
So what you just heard is the left literally talking about how they want to destroy Western civilization, because it represents the Christian Judeo values and the value of the family unit and the value of the sanctity of life. You know what I mean? And so I've wrestled with whether I'm going to show this or not today, because there's some language in here. But the thing is, I made this exclusively over for my Twitter X audience. Occasionally, there are videos that I only will release on Twitter X, but I'm going to be brave and I'm going to share it here today, because I believe that there's people here that need to see this thing. And so give me a moment here. I'm going to pull this up. Okay, and I'm going to enlarge this. And hold on, let me make sure that it's as big as it can be. I'm going to get out of here for a moment here and let you watch this. All right, I'm going to play this. This is a video I made just exclusively for Rumble. It is 9 minutes long, but it is jam-packed of how bad it's about to get. And so I want to warn you, there's some language in here. I first off want to just put a little disclaimer on this, that I am not racist. I have friends who are different colors. I absolutely love all people, regardless of what they believe or what their skin color is. I just, have to tell you what other people are saying about what they want to do. So here's a warning, and I really pray to God, I pray in the name of Jesus that people are listening.
The liberals are going to protest, while the conservatives are going to march for the speaker's First Amendment rights. And that is where Frank comes in.
A tuba? What am I going to do with a tuba?
You're going to play it to inflame the crowd.
The Podesta plan from August of 2020, published in the New York Times, official Democrat war game policy, was that if Trump was able to win and they couldn't steal it, they would foment racial crises using Antifa, Black Lives Matter, and Islamic groups.
I believe in the death and destruction of white people, each and every one of them. White man, fight back! White man, fight back!
And when you go to these trans rallies, these leftist rallies, upwards of half of them now, usually about a third. I've been to rallies with 100, 300, 3,000 or 4,000, 5,000 in Austin, other cities. They are trans, and when they march in Austin and Dallas and places, they have M4s, and when they see me, they say, "We're going to F and kill you."
You just have to flood a country's public square with enough raw sewage. You just have to raise enough questions, spread enough dirt, plant enough conspiracy theorizing that citizens no longer know what to believe. Once they lose trust in their leaders, in mainstream media, in political institutions, in each other, in the possibility of truth, the game's won.
I like to watch people. I like to watch people and enjoy it. Yeah. I like to see the light leave your eyes.
We have to exterminate white people off of the face of the planet to solve this problem.
Left-wingers, liberals, you need to be showing your opponent's guts on there, okay? You need to be gutting them.
So this guy just said he wanted to murder our baby as we were walking past.
He said he wanted to kill our white baby.
Don't give a damn if the little bastard just came out of his mom's womb 3 seconds ago.
I'm ready. I am locked and loaded for Democrats. I am locked and loaded for Democrats.
I don't know why he's looking at me when he said that.
Jesus Christ, you don't see that? I'm not kidding when I say wipe that smile out. I don't care if that's a detention. I just wrote you a referral mentally. You're going to detention for bringing up politics in class. You want to go for 2?
Control yourself, man.
Yo. Excuse me? Excuse me? After all I put up with you for the last 2 years and talked you up and stood your back when they threatened you. You what? You say what? What? Are you serious? Treating me with that disrespect?
You deserve to be shot. You deserve whatever suffering could possibly come to you. If you are a Republican and try to start any of that kind of nonsense with me in person, you will lose your life.
Go away! Insulted the member. Keep going!
our home. Take back our land. Hail America!
I go around universities and have challenging conversations, because that's what is so important to our country, is to find our disagreements respectfully, because when people stop talking, that's when violence happens.
I've never seen someone do it.
Well, it's a growing trend because people like me are facing violence, assaults, the left. Yes, the campus Antifa. I've been stormed out of restaurants. I've been assaulted publicly, multiple death threats.
So what's your goal with this?
There's more people that agree with me than some people would actually believe, and they come out of the woodwork when I do stuff like this. We record all of it so that we put on the internet so people can see these ideas collide. When people stop talking, that's when you get violence. That's when civil war happens.
This letter outlines 3 world wars that were written by 2 high-level. I don't need to share that part because I already talked to you about the Albert Pike 3 world wars, but I think you guys get the picture of what's going on and what's happening here, and the divide that's being created by the propaganda from the global elite, the Illuminati, the Luciferians, the people who are the money mongers of the world, that have all the dollar bills to be able to fund these sort of projects. And I don't think it's going to get any easier at anybody before we go home. I think it's going to get harder and harder up to the time that Jesus is going to come get us. And I'm trying not to get emotional here, but I really hope people are listening and paying attention, because I'm trying with all my might to fight against a lot of people that not fight against them, but to fight past the agenda of a lot of people that only care about numbers, money, and their YouTubes. They're telling people one thing and really it's another. And I'm not denying that Jesus is coming. What I'm denying is that we're being set up for a great disappointment, and there's a revolution that seems to be brewing, and even movies like Leave the World Behind called it out, a coup d'etat and civil war, and it kind of blows my mind that this is where we're at now. I'll be honest with you, when I first started researching conspiracy theories and biblical prophecy, especially eschatology, things about the end times, I never thought I'd see these days. And I have a feeling it's about to get extremely real really fast. I think that it's apparent. I think the evidence is all around us, and I pray that people fall on their knees instead of being focused on things that they can't control. Control your relationship with Jesus Christ and get in close with him. Pull in close to Jesus right now, because that's the only peace we're going to get right now is through Jesus. These are tumultuous times. It's outright turbulence right now. Like it almost feels like the plane is about ready to crash land, and when it crash lands, it ain't going to be pretty. And all it's going to take is another major event, like what we saw with Mr. Kirk and what happened to him, this tragedy, for things to really pop off and become something serious. And there are groups, that are training to do terrible things on both sides of the coin. On both sides of the coin. It's not just one side, it's the other. They're preparing to clash. And I showed you all the proof, and I pray that people listen. God bless you all. May he keep you. And please don't forget to go out and change this world.
Now, let's go down the rabbit hole.